Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome you on board this Rederij Koi excursion boat. During the trip, we'll tell you about the most important sites along the route.
You're right inside the nice parking garage for bicycles when you go to the train station. Yeah. The whole central station is surrounded by parking spots for bicycles. There are 900,000 people in Amsterdam. They estimate 1.2 million bicycles in the city, and every year they find 15,000 of them back at the bottom of the canals. 200,000 a year change from owner, 100,000 of them are reported as be stolen, the other 100,000 are recycled.
We've now left the city centre and we're entering the former harbour. Amsterdam has one of the largest harbours in Europe. Because the ships kept on getting larger and larger, it became necessary to construct completely new harbours where the very largest ships could load and unload their cargo. These harbours are on the North Sea Canal between Amsterdam and IJmuiden. To the right, you see the central station, built on a man-made island. It's been in use since 1889. The people of Amsterdam are very proud of their city and its long history. To start at the beginning, we'd have to go back to medieval times. The first people who lived here are thought to have been fishermen, who settled at the spot where the Amstel flowed into the IJ, which was then still connected to the Zuider Sea, the modern-day IJsselmeer. In 1275, Amsterdam was granted city rights. In those days, this animated settlement, with its wooden houses protected from the water by dikes, was still quite small and only covered an area of about 200 by 1,000 meters on both shores of the Amstel. In the course of the centuries, Amsterdam has expanded into an international center of culture, trade, industry, and ocean and air travel. The building on the left in the form of a ship is the new metropolis, which was designed by the famous Italian architect Renzo Piano. This is the same architect who designed the Pompidou Center in Paris. The new metropolis is built over the entrance to the IJ tunnel. To the right, you can see the St. Nicholas Church, built in 1887 in neo-Baroque style. St. Nicholas was the patron saint of sailors. To the right, we see the Montalban Tower, an old defense tower. The bottom part dates back to the 15th century, but the top wasn't added until the 17th century. The tower used to be called Gekke Jacob, Crazy Jack, because the clock couldn't keep time. The canal we're in now, called Oude Schans or Old Trench, is another of the city's old defense canals. To the left, the Waterlooplein, or Waterloo Square. The building is the Amsterdam City Hall and Music Theatre. This used to be the center of the Jewish neighborhood. We are now in the Amstel. Amsterdam was named after the former river, the Amstel. The blue bridge ahead of us now, its pillars decorated with slave ships, was built in 1884. The bridge is more or less a copy of the Pont Alexandre III in Paris. We're now entering the Herengracht, or Gentleman's Canal. It was dug in the 17th century. On the right, at 579, we see a house with a handsome statue in the gable depicting St. George and the Dragon standing on the head of an elephant.
I think it's in Michael, but nevertheless it's still a beautiful decoration. And a little bit of sunshine, it is gorgeous.
We're now approaching one of our boat trip's most beautiful spots. On the left, we're about to see the 7 arched bridges of Reguliersgracht, or Regular Canal. To the left, at number 502, the house with the balcony and the marble pillars is the official residence of the Mayor of Amsterdam. Just ahead of us is the beginning of the golden bend of the Herengracht, or Gentleman's Canal. In the 17th century, the Golden Age, this is where the country's wealthiest merchants, the patricians, used to live. Nowadays, these mansions are used as banks, offices, consulates, and so on. These houses used to be occupied by just one family. The door under the steps was used only by the staff. On the corner on the left, before the bridge, there are 2 houses with identical neck gables, called the Twin Sisters. To your left, from number 362 to number 368, you can see several beautiful mansions that once belonged to wealthy 17th century merchants. Be sure to look up at the gables of the houses to the left and to the right. There are a lot of different types of gables, but the most common ones are the stepped gable, the bell gable, the neck gable, the frame gable, and the funnel gable. You see that each house has a furniture hook at the top of the gable. Since the doors and staircases of the houses in Amsterdam are very narrow, when we move house, everything goes in and out through the window. The stairs of these houses were so narrow because houses on the canal were taxed on their width. Consequently, people tried to build houses as narrow and as deep as possible. Many houses have extensions at the back because it was cheaper. In the 17th century, some houses were built in a special way with the top of the gable leaning slightly forwards. In this way, it was easier to hoist up goods, and it also helped keep the rain out. To your left, at 170 to 172, the home of a wealthy 17th century Italian banker, the Bartolotti house. The low fences that you see lining the canals all over Amsterdam have been put there to prevent cars from driving into the water. They were put up in 1962 to 1963 and cost the city 100 guilders a metre, which was quite a lot of money at the time. And they still can't prevent an average of 1 car a week from driving into the water. To the right, at number 7 and number 9, you can see 2 warehouses, a large one and a somewhat smaller one, called Father and Son.
Here we see some of the Homo sapiens in their natural habitat, playing with peanuts and throwing them at each other. Like, we see an example, like James down here. He has no idea what he's doing.
Yeah, I do.
And Maria is the only female monkey.
Mr. Sassy Lady.
I said you just missed this on tonight.
Oh, that was a boob grab, boob grab. Boob grab.
They have those castles again.
Ja! Oi, oi, oi! Oh, oh, oh. Dat was het niet!
Look him!
Dat was hem! Yep. This is almost gone. Hey, holy shit! Hey, hey!